Welcome to the third episode of Today in Arizona Accounting with Wallace Plese Dreher. I'm very, very excited to be joined today by one of our most influential women of 2023, Allison Dozbaba, partner at Wallace Plese Dreher. Allison, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I know we have to talk about accounting today, but before we get to it, I have to say, I grew up with a sister who had developmental disabilities, so I'm very, very impressed with the work that you do with Treasure House. Can you tell me how you got involved with Treasure House?
Yeah, so Treasure House had been around for, I think, 2 or 3 years when they started to develop a young professionals board. A coworker of mine had a contact who reached out and said, do you have anyone who would be interested? So I met with the CEO, Lori Tanner, and we went and toured the facility. It is it's a very large home in Glendale for people, like young adults. After they graduate, there's not a lot of resources for people with disabilities where, you know, they can take care of themselves, but maybe not live completely independently. So there are 29 apartments. So each person has their own room with a bathroom and a small little kitchenette, but then the community, like the middle common area, has a kitchen. They do serve dinners. They have a game area, a wonderful outside area. So each resident has a coach, a life coach. So it's a home, it's a community. It's wonderful. Like Kurt and Brenda Warner actually started the nonprofit because their son Zach. They wanted him to have a place, like to have a life, like the same dreams and wishes that you would have for any of your kids. So it's a beautiful facility, and just like it's so beautiful to meet the people that live there and see how much it's impacted not just them but their families. Like people have moved from other states because there's not another facility like this anywhere.
That's so great. As somebody who grew up in a family like that, I can't tell you how important having organizations like that, resources like that are to the families. So how can you balance that community work with what you do at Wallace Plese Dreher?
I think two things. Wallace Plese Dreher, we say WPD sometimes, just to make it easier to say. Their focus is really like becoming what you can in your career, having a family. It's not that we all have the same kind of family. Like there's a lot of people with kids, there's a lot of people without kids. It's just like you can't just only be at work, and what you do at work is the only thing that matters. So there's an allowance towards following those type of passions. So besides being involved in nonprofits or with your kids' school or your kids' sports, any hobbies that you have, like we really want people to feel like it's, you know, everything matters. So it's possible because although we have to work very hard, a lot of it can happen in like I call it like a puzzle kind of. I come in, I work, I leave maybe at 4:30 sometimes, and then I go home and I eat dinner with my family, and then I get back online. You know, with the remote work capabilities, it's it makes it possible to do more things, I think.
That's great. So you're one of our most influential women. You've elevated yourself to be partner at your firm, and you do community service. How have you mastered this balance of work life and community service?
I don't know if you ever master it. I just think I try to, I mostly say yes to things that I want to do, and then it's just communicating with your coworkers or your family. It's like any kind of relationship. You need to show up for what you've committed to.
So other people that I've talked to at WPD, can I call it that?
Yes, I think you should.
Other people I've talked with at WPD, they talk about the culture and how it kind of fosters that work-life balance. Have you found that to be true?
I do. I think when I was even just interviewing, I noticed that. I've met several people, and the things they talked about, you could tell that they had passions outside of work. Coworkers were doing things together outside of work, going to events like hockey games, and even though maybe those aren't sponsored events, people are making connections and doing things outside of work, and you can just feel that when you meet everybody. Like people want you to be part of the group. They want to hear your input. Like I couldn't tell necessarily this when I interviewed, but when I started, I was actually almost really surprised at how open they were to ideas and just receptive to like, what if we changed this and did it this way? And they're like, yes, go ahead, roll that out. So it's at every level. I didn't start as a partner, so it's not like, oh, the partners decide what we do and that's all we do. Like, it's very collaborative, and if you have an idea and it's a good idea, we're willing to try it.
How did you end up at WPD?
I had been at another firm in the Valley when I first came out of school, and I was there for about 10 years. I enjoyed my time there. I got an opportunity to go out to industry, so I tried a position in industry. I thought it'd be like less work, less hours. I still have a young family, but it just wasn't right for me. It was almost less flexible. Like, you needed to be in your chair from 8 to 5. So if you had a doctor's appointment, or my kids had doctor's appointments, it was harder for me to fit all the things in. I was looking for somewhere closer to my home, so East Valley for me. And then I met several people. I toured the office, and I just felt that connection. So, and then I haven't left.
Talking to other people at your firm, they said you've really been able to come in and make some effective changes in processes and training and client services. What is it about your firm that you've been able to come in and affect those changes so perfectly?
Well, perfectly, that's,
well.
I know, I understand. I think, again, the openness, the receptiveness, just even the communication style at the firm is very, almost when I first started, I felt like, how am I included in this conversation or this meeting? Like, should I be hearing all of this? But if you hear the context to things, it helps you be like, oh, maybe we could try this. So I think it's several different things, and it also depends on your personality. Some people want to come in and sit down and do the work assigned to them, and that's great. And then other people want to be involved internally with processes or procedures or things like that, training. So there's a spot for everybody. I think it's just that they are so open to all the, like, it's not like you're at this level, you have to just be, this is your exact role. It's collaborative.
That's wonderful. And you've been able to come in and elevate yourself to become partner, is that right?
Correct.
How were you able to have that upward mobility in such a short period of time?
I think it was short at WPD, or it felt short. It's just, I think I wanted to get involved. I care about the people that I work with. I care about my clients, and I worked under some really great people. I still work with some really great people, and the type of clients that we have really allow for you to continue learning and growing, and there's a range of type of client. You're not just seeing one piece of a very large client, but there are very large clients. So you are able to help someone, maybe just a sole proprietor who is starting a business, or a company that's acquiring and doubling in size. There is opportunity across the board of what type of interest.
That keeps life interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
So what advice would you have to somebody who's watching this video and wants to follow in your footsteps, and they want that balance that you've been able to find, they want that career that you've been able to capture? What advice would you give to them?
I think, you should go to our website, our careers page. It's wpdcpa.com. Click on careers, there's a listing. But ultimately, even if there's a listing that you don't think you fit for, just like reach out, submit a resume, and then really just apply yourself, get involved. We have various committees. If you see something that you think could use improvement, speak up. I think that's true anywhere that you work. It's as much engagement as you can put in, you're gonna move up.
Okay, Allison, one last question. I heard that you have a dream of having a dog farm. Where does that come from?
I don't know. I think when my husband and I were dating, we just both loved dogs, and we're like, oh, we could have land and just have like a dog rescue. And I think I just love dogs. I think they're just the sweetest. And I only have one right now, but I'm
you want a whole
convincing
farm of them.
yes, and so does my husband, but he says, like, not right now. We don't have room for it. I'm like, we have room for another dog, but we're wearing him down.
That's great. Well, Allison Dozbaba, partner at Wallace Plese Dreher, thank you so much for being here. This episode of Today in Arizona Accounting, and congratulations once again on being one of our most influential women in Arizona.
Thank you.
See you next time.